Okay, question before we start today. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. It's always confusing. That's the only homework exercise. She's talking about the e-text and videos, like when you fill in the little words in there. It does not show up in the grade book as if you did it, but it's there. So if you did it, if you go through the thing and you see it up there, it is there. That's one of the weird ones. So, any other questions? All right, so we're going to wrap up chapter 1 right now by doing some case studies. So pull out a piece of paper and pencil and pen. And start with Letitia and the new furniture. One more bit. Oh, yeah. All right, so Letitia works as a graphic designer and just got a raise of $100 each month. She wants to buy a new television and furniture and thinks this raise is enough to pay for those purchases. Tired of her hand-me-down furniture from her parents and her 10-year-old television that she got from a garage sale, she plans to use her credit card to buy new things. Currently, she has $500 in her savings account, and she figures that with her raise, she can easily do the payment plan towards the television and the furniture. To make the situation even more tempting, her credit limit still has $1,000 before it's maxed out. She plans to use the card towards purchases so she can buy everything now. So does her plan sound like a smart one? You can kind of give a little short answer to that one. And then do number 2. What are the pros and cons about Letitia's plan to purchase new television and furniture? So pros and cons. I always like to give incentives to people to be here on time, so sometimes we'll have stuff at the front end turned in, so that you don't get all right. So what do you think? Sound like a smart one? No. All right. So that one's kind of supposed to be a gimme. So at least in terms of this, doesn't sound very normal though. I mean, it's kind of a leading question. We're in personal finance. We already did. Baby step number 1 is what? Or baby step number 2, rather? Pay off all debt. So we're already on this, don't go into debt thing. So hopefully you'll start to buy into that more, because what she wants to do is what most Americans would want to do, right? In her position. That's not unusual. So what about the pros and cons? So I'd like to hear from the pros. What's the benefits? What's some of the pros from doing this? Yes. Give me your name again. Austin.
You could sell her old television to get the money to pay off.
Okay. Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of it that could chip away from it. That's a benefit that she could get from doing that plan. All right, I'll buy into that. Hannah. That's the big one, right? You get to have it now as opposed to later. Is that a benefit? Yes. I mean, we all have to recognize that's exactly the thing we're trying to maybe overcome and weigh out the costs and the benefits. So did anybody else have any other pros of doing that? What? Say a little louder. She gets on the couch, yeah. So instead of whatever she was she's going to get the benefits of the new stuff quicker, right? So good. So then what's the cons? Let me go, Josh, if you want to.
Okay, so it sounds like she wants to pay.
Okay. Okay, so what would be the con though of using the credit card potentially? What's the bad part of using the credit card? So I want to, yeah, you might be maxing out. Okay, so you might be getting close to that limit. Caleb?
I said spending money on something that she doesn't need.
Okay,
She's spending money that's not, that she doesn't
okay, that she doesn't have. Why would that be a con? I guess?
have.
And lots of people do that. So tell me, what's the reason for that being? You better be careful. That might not be a good idea.
Because she'll owe more to get it for that interest.
Okay, so interest is one thing. That's on the con side, right? So she'll be paying more interest on the debt compared to if she had paid cash. Daly, did you have something? You were going to say the interest? Okay. Yeah, so the interest is part of it. Any other cons? I think there's maybe a couple other too. Yes, Mom? Okay, so what do you mean by the automatic payment, I guess? Is that she's going to have that automatically coming out of her account? Most credit cards aren't set up that way, that you're going to automatically have it be paid from your, are you talking about from your checking account, like when the monthly payment comes due? It doesn't have to be set up that way. She can be in control of the timing of when she does it. Most are set up that way. You can set it on some sort of autopilot, but that would be you setting that up. But some banks do have it set up where, especially if you have your credit card with your bank, then that there can be kind of an automatic thing pretty easily set up, or might even come along with it. What about the future for her? She just got graphic design job, got a raise of $100 each month. What risk is she taking on if she takes on a $100 a month payment? What else could happen with this new graphic design job? She could fail, or the company could fail. Maybe she's a great graphic designer, but all of a sudden COVID hits and she loses her job. Nobody wants to do advertising and graphic design gigs anymore, and she gets laid off, right? So one of the pitfalls here of going into debt is thinking that the future is going to continue on as it is when maybe it won't, right? And so you're in a little bit safer position by not taking on those obligations of the future monthly payments. There's maybe one more. We talked about the Benjamins. Did anybody mention that last time? That what does she say? She's doing $100 a month. She brings in a couple of these. Remember the video? Kind of doing this. It's kind of fun to play with these things. What might be true about the furniture she buys? She can get it a little cheaper if she uses cash. And in the furniture business, there's a pretty big markup too. So bringing cash to a furniture deal, they have 0% financing and blah, 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 or whatever. But you bring cash, and you might all of a sudden find a couple $100 off of whatever furniture you're looking to buy. That couch that's listed for $9.99 might be able to be picked up for $700. Right? So paying in cash has its benefits too, because we have such a culture that's built around borrowing. Bringing cash to the table can get you some better deals. Okay. All right. Why don't you pass those into the middle, and then the middle people pass them up to the front. We're going to do one more, but we're not going to write this one. So pass those forward. We got Jorge and Transportation. So Jorge is a junior at a state university. He's lived in the dorm for 2 years, but he's ready to move off campus for his remaining college time. After searching online, he found a house with a room for rent for $400 a month. $400 a month, roughly what you might pay in Ottawa. It's probably a little on the high side. I think you can probably find $300 to $400 a month, but this is kind of right in line with what some of you could be facing this. The only downside is that the house is 2 miles from campus, and Jorge doesn't have a car, although he's wanted one for a long time. He decides that moving off campus is the perfect reason to buy a car. Jorge has $3,000 in student loans, but doesn't have to start paying them back until after he graduates in another 2 years. He decides that he can afford the car payment of $200 a month. Jorge begins to search for a car, finds a good used one for $5,000. He buys the car and moves off campus. So, did Jorge make the best decision by moving off campus and buying a car he pays for with monthly payments? Okay, so we're back to the, oh, I get it, this is personal finance, it's a debt. Let's not do that. But this might be pretty normal. $200 a month car payment, used car, he bought a used car. Student loans isn't too bad at this point, $3,000, doesn't have to pay those till he graduates. What are some things that Jorge might not be thinking about when he does this car purchase, that he's got $200 a month payments on his $5,000 debt? What else was there, right? Okay, so yeah, the student loans are going to continue to grow, and then there'll be a monthly payment eventually once he graduates. Good. Good. Insurance, yes. So how much is insurance run for a car? If you're a college student under age 25, even if you have a good driving record, are you in the higher risk category? Yeah. So what do you think? You guys, some of you know your insurance bills. What are you paying for insurance per month? $230. Woo, that sounds high. $300. Wow. Everybody up? Are you guys all around that level? No, I can't be. Well, and it depends on if you're under your parents' policy or not, and of course if you've had some wrecks or speeding tickets and other things, right? What else? Give me some other premiums of what you guys are paying. 50. 50 sounds really good. Yeah, what's your age? Give me your number. State Farm. Yeah, because 50's pretty low. Still with your parents' policy bundled with other stuff. So that's where it gets a little like if your parents have their house and multiple cars and blah blah blah, then you get better rates. So my son is around $75, I think. Also depends on the type of car you're driving, but 100 up to 300 is what I heard, right? So is that something that you always think about? Do you always call your agent and say, well, before I buy this car, I want to know how much the insurance is going to be? Or do you buy the car because you're all hyped up on, oh, I found a good deal, I negotiated, I got the car, call up my insurance agent, how much is the insurance going to be, right? So insurance can be one that hits you. What else comes along with the car besides insurance? What's that? Maintenance, yeah. So the tires, just normal maintenance, let alone breaking down. But even just normal maintenance, gas, you got to get from one place to the other. So if you start really putting all that together, you got to be careful of what you're getting yourself into. It's not just the monthly payment that you be looking at. So what other options? Let me jump down to number 3 here. What other options does Jorge have for his living and or transportation? Public transportation, so could do that.
Try to find someone who's the same.
Okay, maybe a ride share type of deal. Maybe you can buy, maybe even Uber for that matter, depending on where you live. Even that won't work in Ottawa here, but that's a possibility in a lot of bigger cities.
Buy a cheaper car with cash.
Buy a cheaper car with cash, but then you got to be careful. But you got the insurance and everything else going in there, right? How many people ride a bike? Yeah, bikes work, or walking the old-fashioned way. So that. What's that? Well, yeah, if you got the right deal, but there's risk associated with that, right? Yeah. Everybody needs a car. Well, that's what I think we're challenging on, whether you really need a car or not. I mean, a lot of students end up staying in college and not getting a car. There's a decent amount of people that don't end up having a car even all the way through, but usually, junior, senior year, you might start to need one more. But if you're living in the dorms here, so then we'll do some stuff later with comparing living in the dorms versus living off campus. And of course, this is the type of stuff you got to be comparing. Like, well, when I'm living in the dorms, I'm just walking, don't have insurance, don't need a car, don't have to pay for a parking spot if the university charges for parking, that sort of thing. Okay, well that gets our juices flowing here. Let's I wanted to go over this next here. So we had our pre-quiz that we took at the beginning of the course. Remember, a little 5-question quiz. And I've got the numbers for the class. Remember that you, for 1, 2, 3, those were worth a point. And then 4 and 5, if you got either one right, that was so the score was out of 4 for that. And we had an average in the class of 2.88. So here's how it looks around the world with this. So this is a survey that they've done in countries all over the world. And so you need 3 out of 4 to pass the test. So 3 out of 4, there was 11 of you, 8 of you got a 4, 3 of you got a 3, and then 2 of you got a 2, and 4 of you got a 1. So that's how our class broke down in terms of scores. And so what these numbers show is that in Norway, 71% of the people got at least a 3. In the United States, I thought they were a little higher than that. There we go. The United States is 14th in the world, 57% passed. 57% for that quiz. So again, most of you guys were there. We were almost there as a class, even at an average of 2.88. After I've taught this class, I've had 100% get 4. So that's what we're going to bring you guys up to. That's why we kind of do that pre-quiz, so that you can know you're doing a lot better than most Americans. And then there's kind of all over the board here. So we get down to Iraq is at 27%. So 27% of the population could get a 3 or a 4 out of a 3 or 4, 3 or better on that. And so that's what kind of the rest of the world looks like. And let's see, I can't remember if there's anything else interesting. Oh, this was by age. So 15 to 34, 35 to 54, and then plus 55. So here's the United States. So kind of hovering around that 57% range again. And then here's some of the other countries around the world. But if you're wondering, are the young people know this stuff a lot better than the old people? In the United States anyway, the middle has a little bit more of a bump, but otherwise it's fairly even across all ages. So it's like if you don't get it young, you never get it, right? If you don't get it when you're young, you probably don't get it the rest of your life. And so, and we've already seen how important the rest of your life can look if you get it early from what we did earlier this week. Okay, any questions or comments there? All right, so that's what we're working on, get everybody up to speed. And we're going to start chapter 2 now. Chapter 2 is on budgets, the B word. How many of you have a positive feeling about budgeting? Is that a good, fun thing? Okay, we got a couple, there's always a few. How many people say, oh, budgets, this is going to be the bad part. That sucks, I don't want to do a budget, right? That's usually most of us. So hopefully what we're going to find here is, number one, the budget's going to be your own budget. And so you're going to be able to create it. And so it turns out to be very empowering when you have control over your own funds and you're not just kind of dangling around. So hopefully we'll change your perception on budgeting as we work through this chapter. Money active. How is money active? How did that get you? Josh, number between, let's go 5 and 10. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see, let's start going a little bit. What's up? All right. How is money active?
It's basically your life.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Needed to survive. Needed to.
Yeah, you need it to survive. So you really don't need money, though, do you? Like to survive. What does money get you that gets you surviving? Food and stuff, right? So think about that. You need it. So anybody want to add on to Alyssa here? So how is it active in the sense that you need it to live? Let me go here. Let's see. I know Anna's in here. And take a hot ciggy. Sienna! See, I had an S instead of a C. C-I-E-E-N-N. All right, Sienna, yes. Okay, in what way? What do you mean by it's cheap? Yeah, okay. So it's real active in the sense of you need the stuff to live, it comes into your account and it leaves your account, right? And it's into your wallet and then you go to Starbucks and it's out of your wallet, right? So it's really circulating around, really moving. And so that's why this budget idea is just a plan. So my buddy Chris Azevedo that I went to graduate school, I've always been a pretty big spender myself. And so he described me once like, Russ, you and money is like a one of those revolving doors like at the department store, you know, that kind of go around. It's like it comes in one hand and it goes out. This is what he did to me. He's like, it was like this. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're kind of right. Because that's kind of what I did. So that's what that came to my mind when it goes. So then the second question is, what are the benefits of a written cash flow plan? How can this impact you as a college student? But a written plan as opposed to, he said, the verbal plan, the one in your head. How is the written plan? Why is that so important? Let me go back to the number generator here. I can think of it on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Therese. Written plan. Why is that better than a verbal plan? Okay, just seeing it, right? Yeah, so I have a PhD in economics. That's like the highest degree you can get in economics. I've taken math classes that blew me away. Like I wasn't that good at math, right? I have tried to do like the numbers in my head for a budget. And once you get about beyond 4 things, you can't keep track of it. I can't keep track of it, I should say. Maybe you can. I think if you're one of those autistic savant people where you have a handful of toothpicks and you throw them on the floor and they can count that that's 637, you know, maybe that person can do it. But otherwise, the one in your head is not going to work. You really have to see it in paper. And so it doesn't have to be very complicated, though, is what we're going to learn. It doesn't have to be real complicated. But it does need to be written down so that you can really see it and see where you can make some moves. Like if you do want to spend some money on something, where's that going to come from? So that's kind of where we're going with this. Before we do that, though, we're going to do a exercise on checkbooks. So I want you guys to get in groups of 3 or 4. Everybody, you can go ahead and move around, move your chairs around, whatever you want to do. 3 or 4. Go ahead and write the first name. You write your first name, last name on the sheet. And put the first name only of the people that are in your group. I'll help you get into a group, but minimum of 3 people, maximum of 4. Feel free to move around. All right, minimum of 3, maximum of 4. Let's see, so what do you guys do? How about you 3? What do you got, 2?
Yeah.
Oh, you need a paper.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, how are my groups? What do you guys, you 3? Oh, you 2, all right. Let's see, so come on with me, guys. I'm gonna sprinkle you around. One of you get to go with these ladies here, and one of you get to go with these guys here. I'm here with the ladies. Okay. So, how many of you actually balance your checkbook? How many of you keep track of your checkbook and balance it? Reconcile your checkbook. Wow, I usually have at least one person, but nobody. So how many of you just use your app on your phone to see how much money you got in your bank account? Okay, whatever the bank says is what you got. All right, that's the normal way. Oh, I forgot about you, Kevin. Let's see. Let's see how that will work. I'm not sure how this will work, but we'll try to
Yeah,
put
it's gonna be weird.
we'll put you with these guys here. I'm going to point you down to there. There's Abby and Austin,
Oh, hey, Fetty.
Taylor. So now you're in this group of four here. Let's see how this works. You need to pull it up on your app, Kevin. It's balancing your checking account.
All right, give me 1 second.
Go to chapter 2. And so here's the first step of this. On the sheet, on your this side here, these are all like receipts. So the first step in this is you guys going to this register. This is like an old-fashioned checkbook register. And line by line, you're just going to put the thing down. You can kind of be abbreviated. Don't worry about the running balance. You don't need to pull out that at this point. Just put the number in. So the first one's done for you. So the first one says 4.2 green gas and oil, and it was $37. So that's the first receipt there. So now do all of the rest of them. And just start putting line items. You can put the date. Everybody's getting there. So Kevin, I'm going to spin you back around because I'm going to do some stuff on the screen. Okay, so this is really the old-fashioned way of keeping track of how much money you have in your account. So here's the answers. Those of you still got a few line items to go. You can go ahead and put $604.09 is the final balance. Is the right answer that I didn't need to spend class time having you guys do the calculator. You guys all know how to do that. So we've got the 3 deposits. So those should show up on this side. It's a little bit easier to see. So any questions on filling out the check register? Okay. So go ahead and, let me back up. I was thinking about doing one thing. We'll do that after this. So on the back side now, if you flip it over, let's see. Flip it over for me. There it is. If you flip it over, on the right side, this is what you guys do. So when you guys go to your app on your phone, or you get your bank statement, or you go to your banking online access, this is what you're looking at, right? From your bank, it shows you that you have $462. So my first question is, who's got better data, you or the bank? Who's got better data, more information, you or the bank? I hear a couple people saying bank. Yes, they have more information than you. Have you ever wrote out a check? Those of you who write out a check, or I should just say a swipe. Have you ever done a swipe and it actually doesn't show up till Monday because you did it on Saturday or Sunday? Who has more information, you or the bank? You. You have the information on your account in real time, right? So if you did an old-fashioned paper check and wrote it out to somebody and handed it to them, they might hold on to that in their purse for a week before they deposit it. The bank doesn't know that that check's out there, but you do. So you are the one that actually has more information. So when we reconcile our bank account, which you can do anytime you can do it once a week, you can do it every other week, you can do it once a month, it doesn't matter, but you can double check your bank account and fix what they have wrong. I know that sounds weird because it's usually us. Oh, that's the bank. They have the information. They have accountants. They have professionals that do all this. But really, you're the one with the best information. So what you're doing is you're correcting their statement. Okay, so let's go ahead and correct it. Now, using what you got, find out, talk with your people in your group if you want, find out what is missing on the bank statement. What is the bank missing? Just give you just a minute here. I'm not going to stick you around, Kevin. You can look on yours. What is missing? And once you find out what's missing, go ahead and write it somewhere on here, like maybe down at the bottom, say missing deposit of this amount, missing withdrawal of this amount. Okay, how many things did you find? How many deposits were missing? One. How many withdrawals were missing? The norm one? So was it just one, or did you guys find any other missing withdrawals? Was it just the one? Loans are fun. And how much was that amount? $715. And then was there another one? Was that it? And this, like, normally what you do is you kind of like just go down and check. Yep, got that one, and kind of go back and forth between the two, or you can check on your check register. Cell phone's missing too? Does everybody agree with that? All right, so now if we are going to fix the bank's statement, the bank tells us we have 462. I say, or you say we have 604. What would we need to do with the missing deposit? Add it to this. So go ahead and do that. Now, you go ahead and pull out your phones, by the way. Use it as a calculator. We're going to find another thing with your phones anyway. So you can pull out your phone, use it as a calculator. So add the deposit, the missing deposit, back to the 462.31. And then what would we do with the missing withdrawals? Subtract it. Yep. So do that. Add the deposits, subtract the withdrawals, and see what if you and the bank reconcile with each other. Is that what you're doing? So add the deposit to that, and then subtract the missing withdrawals. Yep, so 462, you're going to add the deposit, and then subtract the withdrawals. Did it work? Did it balance out? All you're doing is the two missing, only the missing ones. So you're adding the missing deposit, and then you're subtracting the missing withdrawals. Which one?
I got 5 more.
Okay, just use that. That would be it. That's fine. So yeah, that 100 is right. That one's on. Maybe we should have been more careful going through, make sure we all agree on what's missing, what's not. So what was missing? Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Was the 1206 missing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what was missing over here? The boats are fun?
Yeah.
And was there anything else? The dorm. College dorm for $350?
Yeah.
All right,
No,
and that's it, right?
the cell phone on there is just under the check.
Yes, I saw, that's what he pointed out too, that it was under the $100 was kind of just miscoded almost or whatever, but. Okay, so we're gonna add 1206 and subtract 350 and subtract 715, and what did you get for an answer? 604, it's like magic. I wanted you guys to have that your own magic yourself there. So from 462, add on to 1206, you get 1666 minus the missing 2 deposits, 60409, right? So that's reconciling your bank account. Now your bank was right with everything else, and you were right. So you match up with the bank statement once we fixed their missing information. Okay, does anybody got any questions there? That's the idea of reconciling your bank account. Now, because in today's world we don't use a lot of paper checks, and again, you swipe something on Saturday or Sunday and it pretty much shows up Monday, this isn't that hard of a thing to do, right? I mean, if you start to look at what's missing and what's not, you can do this fairly quickly to reconcile your balance. All right, so now pull out your phones and go to your app store, whether it's whether you're Apple or Android, and put in Checkbook Register as a search item for an app. Checkbook Register. Checkbook Register. Now you can later do anything, but I'd like you to download this one when you find this icon. I did a lot of research going through a lot of apps a few years ago, and I found this one to be the best user-friendly one out there for keeping track of this. So go ahead and download that to your phone. And this is not going to be linked to your bank account at all. So this is just going to be a way for you to kind of pop things in as you purchase stuff to keep track of your own funds. Everybody finding it? Got a question? This one right here. I didn't highlight it. This one right here. Checkbook. I can't remember what they even call it here, but this one. Should do my fun little pointer.
Did you sign up or did you like skip the little part of it?
That one, right there. Go ahead. What is it asking you to register or whatever? Yeah, go ahead.
I can sign up, but it's not really giving the option to skip.
To what? Skip it? You can skip it if you want. Yeah. And then it's really easy to get started. You would just enter a starting balance. I guess I made my circle so big, you guys. This one. Everybody on it? Did you get it downloaded? Oh, you guys did it? Okay. So yeah, you can skip the sign up if you want, or I don't even know if I'm signed up for it. It's a free app. Okay, so now let me pull up my app here. So this is what I personally use. So here it is on, let me go back to the top. So here's my phone, and I have this app. So you're standing in line at Walmart, ready to buy something. And you can click on, you can have multiple accounts, you can have your savings account and other ones. And then you just say, oh, I've got a new bill, I'm in the line at Walmart, and I can call it Walmart, or I just have a category called miscellaneous. And I'm gonna spend $37.63. Oh, I guess $97.63. Let me close it. And then hit OK, hit the little checkbox, and boom, it's there. So now here's the 97, here was my running balance. We're doing exactly what we just did by hand and paper, the old-fashioned way. But now you're literally keeping track of your balance. So up here at the top in the red is your balance, and then your cleared items. So if you have items that, a check that's gone out, you can make it so that it's not cleared or uncleared, and then your balance would change. And that's it. So now you all easily have a way to keep track of your own account and your savings account. And it's not that hard, right? So plus, so you guys, I don't know if you've gotten to the screen yet, but you can do an initial starting balance of $100 if you want. You can always change that later. And then, or just start a new account. And then just kind of experiment a little bit. You could write in if you want Walmart, depending on how detailed you want to keep, and spend $55 and done. And then of course the app is keeping track of your running balance, and you know how much money you have in real time. And then you can compare that to the bank to reconcile it. Okay, questions or comments there? So that's your check register. Very important to keep track of your own funds and not just kind of look at that balance. It's going to be one piece of the financial puzzle that we'll be getting into. Okay. If you're having fun getting your account set up, there are other ones that you can link to. Most banks, by the way, don't have an actual check register like this. Does anybody know if you have one or that you think you have one? What I found is that students tend to think their bank has one, but it's not really a true check register. But maybe, I think maybe there's been one bank that I saw had it. But the banks don't want you to know your own data on your own. They want you to just believe what they have in real time. So they tend not to give you that tool. It's not like they're trying to deceive you, but you know, it makes their life more complicated if you're calling up and saying, well, I think I've got $1,300 and you say I've got $1,200. It probably causes more trouble than it's worth. So they've never put these check register functions as part of their banking products that they give you. So that's why we have a separate app to keep track of ourselves. All right, questions there? Okay, so let's do a little peek at what this budget is going to be. So what we're going to be creating is a zero-based budget. A zero-based budget. Zero-based. And so how do you think budgeting goes? What's the first step in establishing a budget for yourself? What do you need to know? What's the first piece of the puzzle that, okay, I'm going to establish a budget. What do I need to know? Abby? How much money you have. So you could have a starting balance, and then once you're doing that, we're really going to be budgeting for future money coming in. But that would be the very first step of how much money do you have. And so we can do that. How much do you have? For starters. And then what it's going to be is budgeting is going to be looking ahead, like how much money's coming in. I've got a paycheck coming in 2 weeks from now for $300 approximately. Now we can make a plan for that $300. Okay, but let's start with how much do you have, and let's just say we have a hypothetical $500. What is a category that most college kids would have as part of a category of spending? Yes, Josh. Groceries. So how about food, right? So kind of food / groceries. And how much do you think you're spending per month on that? $100. Let's just kind of, we can ballpark, it's no big deal. So we're going to do $100. And if we do that, how much money is left over to spend? 400. So this is a little technique with the slash. We're going to have the running balance here and the amount here. So now we have 400 left to spend. As college students, what else do we want to spend some money on? Miscellaneous. Okay. Now, miscellaneous, is that like toilet paper and other crap like that, or what are you thinking for miscellaneous? Absolutely. You'd like to toilet paper. All right. So we'll call miscellaneous And what are we gonna throw at miscellaneous? 50 bucks? 50 bucks. We got 350 left. What else are we gonna have? What? Gas. Yeah, so we need some gas for the car. How much are we spending on gas? 100?
Yes.
All right. We got 250 left. What else are we gonna spend our money on? Shopping. So now is shopping like whatever I want to buy? I don't really need it, but I want it. Is it that thing? So we call that blow money. This is the blow category. This is the most important category of the whole budget, by the way, is the blow category that we're going to learn. So basically all the budgets that I've ever had, they feel really restricted, right? Because I want to spend my money the way I want to spend my money. And so we're going to accommodate that with blow money. Now, usually that's going to be figured somewhere in here. Should we have that ahead of our rent or our electric bill or other things? Maybe not, but we definitely always want to budget in some blow money into our, and this is not cocaine money, this is just for fun money, right? The miscellaneous category of spending. And so for blow money, let's go ahead and give ourselves $100 worth of blow money. All right, and then as college students, give me one more category that we can spend on. What's that? Student loan. Okay, so student pay or tuition, books, right? So school-related books, fees, whatever. School, books, etc. And let's just, what we're doing here, by the way, and I'm just going to jump to the chase, is that we're going to spend that 150, leaving us with 0. And so that's the zero-based budget part, is that we take all of our money and have a name. Every dollar has a name. All 500 of these dollars has been given a name. That's the most important part of this function. And we'll pick up there on, I guess we're out Monday, so Tuesday. And your first homework, chapter 1 stuff is due on the weekend, Sunday.